After much prayer and preparation, the time had come for Mission Vanuatu. The massive team of 47 people from Fig Tree, Shell Harbour, Gerringong, Sydney, Brisbane, Rockhampton and Fiji came together for 2 weeks of solid ministry in the island nation of Vanuatu. We arrived into the capital of Port Vila, the nation's commercial and tourism centre. On the back of 3 other past visits, the idea was to equip those who minister to adults, youth and kids with a tool for personal evangelism that they can use long after we leave. Most Ni Vanuatu people attend church every Sunday, so that is what we did when we first arrived.
Today when we turned up at church at 11:15, as they were wrapping up church, they said in 15 minutes time you're going to be on the radio for an hour to give plugs for EE for the coming trip and to sing and to talk about God and everything. So that sort of thing, we were given 15 minutes notice and then we were selling on the radio.
Emma Wade reflected on what she might like to happen while on the trip.
But I guess I'm going to change a lot. That's a bit of a scary thought because I'm not one that likes to change heaps. But I think God has lots to teach me and I will learn a lot about myself and what He has planned for my life.
The training clinics began with the best start we've ever had in Port Vila. 62 church leaders from all denominations ready to begin early Monday morning. The adult and youth training includes quite a bit of classroom teaching and practicing as the trainees learn how to share the gospel and how to go on and train others. During one of the days, we experienced a massive earthquake, but this did not shake us from our task of learning and having a great time with our trainees. As well as teaching about evangelism, we also sought to demonstrate ways of sharing the gospel. This was done through taking the trainees out and meeting people and showing them how to share the gospel with other locals. Pastor Stanley had this to say.
A man who works in the custom office. We sat with him and Pastor Robert shared good word of God with him about our conference, about the Gospels, and then at the end of his sharing, he gave his life to the Lord Jesus. What a miracle.
Clark and his trainee Hillary also saw God at work.
Hillary and I shared the gospel with a man and a smaller girl, high school, and we shared the whole gospel with them in English in Bislama, and they were really excited that we were talking to them, especially the man. He was just thinking that he wanted someone to come and encourage him and someone to just to talk to him about God because he's fallen away, and then we came and talked to him and he was just really excited about that. So we gave him an opportunity to respond and then we walked away, so to give him a good chance to have a think about it. After about 5 minutes he came over and he wanted to receive the gift of eternal life, so we prayed for him and we prayed with him, and he's got a spot in heaven now and he's really, really excited.
As part of the training, we also held 2 rallies to demonstrate a different way of building contacts for personal evangelism. The clinics divided off into 2 different villages where we had been invited and put on music to build a bridge with local people. Michael O'Halloran shared some of his testimony, and then the team was able to talk personally with locals about eternal life. Later that night, some team members needed to catch up with loved ones, but the real playing was in the Kids EE clinic, where Sunday school teachers were being equipped with the tool to teach kids how to share their faith.
So far, the clinicians are really surprising me with the way they're interacting with each other. Best that's I've ever known in a clinic here in Vanuatu. They're really getting into their table groups and they're communicating really well with each other. They're picking their information up incredibly quickly. And it's really wonderful having previous clinicians here to help them, and they're acting as trainers, and that's working really, really well.
At the end of the week, the trainees were very excited.
I found that EE is one of the most powerful tool that we have to use so that we can reach everyone in the country.
I did attend the meeting here last year, and I find it very exciting. When I go back home to the island on Lellaba, I trained 6 people in the community. In my view, I thought evangelism is just about evangelism crusade or a big meeting, whereas this is very simple and it's a simple method that we can just apply as part of our daily life and more effective witnessing in our society.
The best thing is that I learned how to share the gospel, because one of my, I really find it hard to cope with friends and explain. I mean, I cope with them, but to explain and share with them, I find it a bit hard. But I know I'm in the right place and I've learned a lot in here.
With much sadness, the time came to leave Port Vila and get a flight north to the island of Espiritu Santo. During World War II, it was a major operations base for the Americans, but now is the nation's second largest urban centre and the site for the second set of EE clinics, where the team trained another 46 church leaders. The Presbyterian Church was the location for the kids' training, where trainees from past mission trips returned to assist the team and refine their own skills.
I already run this kids CE with my kids in the Sunday school, and they were so interested of playing games and singing songs and other things like they like, also memory verse also. And I pray that the Lord is continue to be with me and lead me wherever I go. I choose to minister His word and also run the kids CE also in other islands and in different places in Vanuatu.
God also blessed the adult clinic as well during their teaching and practical witnessing times.
We went out and started a very quick visit with a lady down in one of the villages, but didn't have time to actually finish that visit, so we arranged to come back and see her on the Thursday afternoon. When we went back to see her Thursday afternoon, she wasn't there, so we looked for her for about 15 minutes before we decided to wander off and find somebody else. And we walked about another 20 minutes and came across a guy who was driving a bus that had broken down on the side of the road, and he was just waiting for the mechanic to come and fix the bus. So we started sharing with him, and he gave us permission to share the gospel with him, and just as we were about to do that, the lady that we were looking for originally had caught up with us, and so we were able to share the gospel with both of them. And all the time that we were sharing the gospel, we were praying that God would keep the mechanic from turning up and distracting the bus driver from what we were doing. And just as my trainee finished praying the prayer of commitment with the bus driver and with the lady, the mechanic pulled up. So it was just amazing to see that God put everything together that afternoon, that we didn't find Dora initially, that we then found the bus driver, which kept us in the one place so Dora could find us again, and then we were able to lead both of them through prayers of commitment, and the mechanic turned up after it was all said and done. So it was just amazing the way God brought all those circumstances together.
Trainees also thoroughly enjoyed the youth clinic, where 3 of the clinicians gave their lives to Christ.
I'm very glad that this training has come here to Sando, and I really believe that it will help us in the church, especially for the youths.
After celebrating Beth's birthday, the team had an amazing night at the rally, where Corrine from Shell Harbour was able to share her testimony, and then groups were able to share the gospel. The following day, Santo East School also invited us to be able to talk with their students and teachers. Kids EE shared what they learned with the primary age classes, while the adult and youth clinics interacted with the secondary students. Some groups employed the walk-away method to make sure that if someone wanted to respond to the gospel, they would really have to consider its implications on their life. Many prayed to receive Christ that day. At the end of the week, people the team witnessed to were able to come down to the park and meet with the team to begin the follow-up process and to be integrated into local churches.
Our responsibility is down at the bottom of the mountain. And thank you very much, the team, for making that clear to us this week. You have led us up to the mountain top and given us that responsibility at the bottom of the mountain.
With training over and home on the range, Katie, Michelle and Corrine used the setting for their own public declaration of faith. It was their baptism, but it was shared by the whole team. It reminded everyone of just how God had changed so many lives over 2 weeks in Vanuatu. Whether it was those people at home who dedicated so much prayer and support to the mission team, whether it was in the 108 trainees from the 28 churches who we learned from and who we equipped with a new tool for evangelism, whether it was in the 933 people we met, of which 752 heard the gospel and 561 prayed to receive eternal life, or whether it was in the lives of each other as we took massive steps of personal growth and came closer to God and His will for our lives. The trip was a success because of what God did and continues to do in us and in the island nation of Vanuatu.